Investing in watches. Yes, I know that's a taboo subject nowadays, and to many, the concept has been blown to pieces as luxury watch values have taken a hammering on the battlefield, that is, the grey market. However, believe it or not, a handful of timepieces have defied gravity. Some exceptions to the rule have surfaced, with a select few brands having stood their ground. Allow me to indulge in a journey of revelation and surprise as I delve deep into the market to uncover watches that not only weathered the storm but emerged victorious. 3 different watches for 3 different price points that have booked the downward trend and represent sensible choices for those conscious of value retention. But finding these isn't just about chance, it's about knowing the rules, being patient and understanding the game. So, is there still a beacon of hope for the discerning investor amongst us? Welcome back, guys. Now, I know, of course, that this idea of investing in watches to make a profit is something which is dead in the water over the last couple of years, set against a backdrop of a declining secondary market and falling Rolex values. But the question still does absolutely exist from most of those buyers. Is this watch I'm going to buy going to lose money? Or how much money is it going to lose? And therefore, this question of safety of investment, of value retention, is absolutely something which is very relevant today. What I really want to do to set out how to really define which particular watches are safer investments is to set out 4 golden rules of choosing these investment watches: condition, scarcity, popularity, and provenance. Condition matters more than anything else, because what we're thinking about, guys, is when we're buying a watch, if it's going to appreciate in value or hold value, we've got to think about that future collector. That future collector wants a watch which is in as good a condition as it possibly can be. A watch which hasn't been over polished within an inch of its life, like I see with many Rolex Submariner Hulks now. Condition not just of the watch itself, but also the paperwork and boxes that it comes with. Condition in terms of original parts. The second golden rule is scarcity. What do I mean by this? Well, a watch in the condition it is in and everything that it comes with should be fairly scarce, because if it's common, if there are many different other options out there for that future collector to choose from, then that drives competition in the market, which only drives the price down. Scarce watches usually are discontinued watches, are watches which are difficult to find in good condition, difficult to find with a certain set of provenance there. The third golden rule for identifying an investment watch in the current climate is popularity. A lot of people out there will say, oh yes, this Rolex is going to be the next big one. It makes perfect sense that, say for example, a Rolex Oyster Quartz is going to be a future collectible. Well, the reality is that, guys, that watch isn't popular now. So you're actually adding an extra level of unknown to that investment decision if you're basing it on a hunch, on a forecast that this one day will be popular. So stop trying to predict the future of the market and focus on the stuff which is popular and people actually want. And that leads me on to the final golden rule, and that is provenance, because a naked watch is never going to be in the thoughts of the future collector. They're going to want a watch that comes either with its original guarantee cards or a service history, a history there which adds value to that watch. So applying those 4 golden rules, then let's have a look at the market as it stands today and identify certain watches available for sale now which I would consider to be sensible choices for value retention and potentially even profitable options. 3 watches for 3 different budgets. So kicking off with the £7,000 budget, then this actually is the easiest category in my opinion of all of the 3 budgets I'm looking at today. These watches are entry level in the sphere of luxury Swiss watches, but, and this is a common theme amongst those pieces I've just mentioned, over the last couple of years, they have absolutely bucked the trend of volatility in the market, and in many of those cases have done nothing but go up in value. Now, the first one that I have to include on this list is an Omega Seamaster 300M, one of the originals and 36mm from the early 2000s. And I remember buying these guys 7 or 8 years ago with an automatic movement for around £800. I was selling them for around 1,200. Now I will be buying them at a trade price of around 1,200 and selling them at around £1,500. So that value appreciation there is enormous. This would absolutely be the first one on that list, and I have a look at a particular reference on Chrono 24. This is the 2552.2 with a very rare white dial. Now, I haven't seen too many of these, to be honest. I've only had 2 of them over the last 8 years of trading in the business, so it absolutely ticks the box of scarcity. Popularity is also there because this is one of the most iconic watches of all time. At a price of £1,750, you can't really say fairer than that. I think that will absolutely retain its value. If you keep it for a few years, it should appreciate as well, if the last few years is anything to go by. My second pick then for that budget of £7,000 would be the Cartier Tank Solo. Now, where Cartier is concerned, there is a massive array of choices, particularly for the Cartier Tank Must line, the originals dating back to the 70s and 80s. There is a huge array of beautiful, weird and wonderful dial choices there, which are very liquid on the secondary market. But this particular example I've chosen is a very rare and very beautiful piece, the Cartier Tank Solo with the Python dial. Now, this is available for £2,195, which is an absolute steal. The rarity of this particular dial is huge. There's only a few available across the world, and I think that is such quintessentially Cartier, really, in terms of its design. And the final pick for my £7,000 budget would be an Omega Speedmaster, and the particular reference I'm looking at is a very rare Omega Speedmaster reduced Schumacher edition. This particular one is with the red dial, the reference 175.0032. This was a limited edition watch which was produced from 1996 to the year 2000. When you consider that the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch is a £7,000 watch in sapphire sandwich at an authorized dealer, this particular pick that I'm looking at is available at £2,655 with its original box in excellent condition. I bet you've never seen one of these before. We now have one available in stock at Beat the Waitlist if you have a look on the website. What a fantastic pick, what a rare watch, and for a budget of around £7,000, I think those are 3 really good, really safe picks. Budget number 2 then, £25,000. Now, this is getting interesting and juicy, I know, giving ourselves more money to play with, however, isn't necessarily a good thing, because there is a tendency to focus on those watches that we have perhaps heard of more of, those watches that we believe are popular, those current production pieces, those hype watches that aren't necessarily future investments. So my first pick for this budget would be an absolute classic, the very first sports watch ever made back in 1920s, I think it was. It is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. This particular watch I'm looking at is a 2023 production with a green dial provided with its original box and original paperwork for an incredible price of only £6,000. Now, why do I choose this particular watch, guys? Not only because of its historical significance and the provenance it comes with, how new it is as well, but also at £6,000, this is considerably less than the retail price. Now, we have witnessed with Jaeger-LeCoultre over the last few years, they have increased their retail prices on the Reverso probably more than any other Swiss watch in the entire industry. We have witnessed the increase in prices at retail of over 40% in the last few years, which is more than Rolex and even more than Omega. Such rapid retail price increases has held the secondary market for reversos quite firm, and in many cases values have appreciated. And for my second pick of this £25,000 budget, I'm going to have a look at Patek Philippe. Yes, this particular Patek Philippe is available for under £12,000. It is being sold by watch collectors. It is crafted in 18 karat rose gold in exceptional condition all round, and at a price of under £12,000 with its original paperwork. This is by far the lowest price that you can find for a Patek Philippe made within the last 30 years. This is a watch, because of the entry point that it can be found at for Patek Philippe, for a men's Patek Philippe, it will always have that popularity aspect which we spoke about in those 4 golden rules at the top of the video, and therefore liquidity of this, ease of selling this should be quite easy. You will absolutely get your money back on that if you keep it in good condition. My final pick for the 25k budget is a Rolex, not however a current production Rolex, as I'm sure many of you will be expecting. As I said, the discontinued Rolexes are always going to be the ones which are more scarce. Now, as far as I know, this is the only Rolex that they've produced in modern times anyway with a purple dial. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual 114300. This is a 39mm discontinued reference which can be found on eBay for under £7,000. So why have I chosen this particular Rolex? Of course, there is the scarcity element of that purple dial. It is very popular for that reason, but also because it's not really followed the trend of the rest of the market, where stainless steel Rolexes are concerned in falling in value over the last couple of years. The value of this watch has actually held quite firm. If we have a look at the peak of the market in 2022, this was a watch you could find for around £8,000. Since then, it's fallen to around £7,000, so it hasn't fallen a great degree, and I do believe that is an indication or a sign that popularity for this watch in particular has grown. And finally, let's have a look at the budget of £50,000. Now, I did toy with the idea of the Rolex Submariner Hulk for this particular category. I have long said that I believe this to be a historically important timepiece. It started the whole trend of green dials, and I do believe it was also the watch that started the hype watch market. It's been discontinued, so ticks that box. However, my issue with this, and my issue with naming this as one of my potential investment picks, is if Rolex decide to just re-release it. It would have the new movement in there, the higher power reserve, and then we would see the Rolex Hulk actually go the other way and depreciate, and certainly wouldn't be considered an investment piece. For me, it does not satisfy all 4 of those golden rules. The first pick on this list though is a Rolex, and it is a vintage Rolex Explorer 2, particularly the 1655 reference, also known as the Steve McQueen. This particular one I have chosen is available on Chrono24 for £21,000 in quite good condition, a 1975 production, and it is supplied with original papers as well, which is a massive bonus. At £21,000, this is a highly collectible watch anyway. It is already quite popular, and I have seen over the last 7 or 8 years that these in good condition with original papers now are really getting difficult to get hold of. In choosing that collector's watch, you've got to remember about the future collector. They want provenance, and absolutely with a vintage piece like this, they want something which is in good original condition. For the second pick of my £50,000 budget, this particular watch popped up on my Instagram feed, and I was really shocked and taken aback by the incredibly pristine condition, original condition I might say, of this Rolex Root Beer reference 16713, a 1989 reference in immaculate, unpolished, pristine condition, supplied with original boxes and papers. This has clearly been a safe queen, and I am sure you'll probably never see another 16713 in this condition ever again. For me as an enthusiast looking at that, I drool and fizz in a way when I see watches like that. It is very rare, and I think for under £15,000, what an incredible pick that would be. It is just sad though, however, that you wouldn't be able to wear this, and you should keep this away in the safe. And to round off my picks for the £50,000 budget, I have chosen a timepiece from A. Lange & Söhne. Now Now, this particular brand, I absolutely couldn't make this video without mentioning. With regards to value retention, this is a brand which has really held strong against the odds. Many of their references, including the Lange 1, the Saxonia line, their Datagraph references, have only continued to rise in value. This is a brand which only produces 5,000 pieces a year. If we have a look on Chrono24 for watches available from this brand for sale, there's only 72 results. And the first reference which catches my eye is this A. Lange & Söhne Langematic Saxo Mat. Now, this is a discontinued reference from 1999. I remember looking at these only a couple of years ago, and they were available for around £16,000. I always thought that this was a unique reference because of that discontinued micro rotor movement. And if we have a look at that now, these are going for £20,000. It's done exactly the opposite of the rest of the watch market. However, that isn't going to be my pick because I think that's already enjoyed its rally on the secondary market. Here we have a 2007 reference Lange 1 available for £21,000 with its original box and original paperwork there at a great price for probably the most iconic Lange that they have ever produced. Anyway guys, let me know what your thoughts are about those 9 picks. Have I proven that the idea of investing in watches still exists and is still alive today? Go check out beatthewaitlist-watches.com and I will see you next time.